have been like, yo, you can find me when my Kindle battery dies. How about that? That's when I'll look at my phone. What's up, everybody? Welcome back for a brand new episode of the Lone Limit Podcast. I'm your host, Chelsie. This is your host, Jay.
Hey.
And we are about to break down all things bookish for you, as you know. Mm-hmm. If this is your first time watching, go ahead, just hit the subscribe button now. We already know you're going to enjoy it, so just hit it right there.
We're a blast.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Speaking of a blast, how you doing, Jay? You feel like a blast from the past, because I haven't really talked to you this week.
No, I miss you, homie.
Your text the other day being like, I want to bug you, but I don't have anything to bug you about.
That was so, bestie coded. Yeah. Also, I think is this the first time that I actually read the book before you on the podcast?
So this is technically the second time, but only because of an asterisk.
Ooh, we have so many asterisks. What's this asterisk?
Because we share the same Libby. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we're supposed to be saying that. But
in this, it's only in rare cases. It's in rare cases when we really can't find a book. So
exactly. So we found one audiobook, and twice now we've had to divvy up who gets the front half of the week and who gets the back half. And every time I get the back half because I read faster.
Yeah, but I feel like there was one time I was like, do it, and you went in and finished it before I started because I was busy. Like, am I wrong? I could be wrong.
I don't know. Don't trust me. I have sick brain.
And yes, we're wishing you all the get well feelies. I did give you the option to not do it. You're like, nah, we talking about the book. I was like, let's go, lock in.
I mean, at this point, I'm going to figure out which child came into my office and got me sick this past week, and then I'm reporting their parents to HR. That's just how we're doing
the context where you were like, which child? I was like, wait, what?
We had children come visit the office, with their parents this past week, and, they're all cute and adorable.
Yep.
But I think I know which one it was, and, as I said, their parents are getting reported to HR. It's not my fault, all right?
It's like Should've 5 years later, and I significantly remember getting sick from one DP because his son was like, he was like, oh, my son came home sick. And I was like, why are you here? He's like, oh, I'm fine. And the next week we were all sick. And I was like, it's your son's fault. I still blame this child. 5 years later to this day.
But Jay, you hold a grudge.
I don't want to say that I do. Because I was taught to forgive.
Jay, do you still blame me for Twisted Love?
That's not fair, because I want to say not anymore, but I know in my heart I do.
Thank you. So, once again, you know how to hold a grudge. I don't want to hear it.
I forgive, but I don't forget.
But you can't.
I think that's fair to say.
No, because number one, you shouldn't be forgiving me for a book I didn't tell you to read in the first place.
I understand the technicalities of this. This is a whole
technicalities.
I understand the technicalities of it, but I have forgiven you. I really have forgiven you. I just didn't forget I know it wasn't you, but in my mind and in my heart it was you, so it's always going to be like in that bracket mentally. I can't move it. I'm sorry. That's just how my mind organizes things.
So then the least you could do is admit that you know how to hold a grudge, even if the grudge stands on shaky ground.
I don't want to.
Then you gotta forgive me for Twisted Love. You gotta forget.
You are forgiven.
No, you know what I mean.
Forget though. All right, you know what?
No.
On the podcast. No. Hold on. On the podcast, I will make it official. I have forgiven, and I will forget Chelsea's imaginary slight against me with Twisted Love. So, clean slate. It's a certified smile right there.
I don't believe you. The way in which I
Why
don't
not?
believe you.
You should believe me.
No, I don't trust it.
I certified it with a smile.
Yeah, that's your on-camera smile. We'll talk off-camera, see how this goes.
Oh, boy. What a great episode.
You know? It's not my fault.
Okay. No, it's not your fault. It is not your fault. We have a lot to get into. I'm very excited about this episode. I don't know why. I'm feeling like I'm ready to go.
Y'all, this woman was upset that I hadn't started the book yet and sent me some sad crying llamas in the rain from Emperor's New Groove. And I was like, I'm out in these streets. Mind your business. And
literally,
then when I started reading it,
enjoy your life.
And then when I started reading the book, she was like, oh, what chapter are you on? And I was like, I'm here. And then 2 hours later, she was like, oh, am I bugging you? And I was like, nah, I'm already halfway. And she was like, how? And I was like, do you want me to read the book or not? I don't know.
I was conflicted because I wanted you to read, so I knew that you read it and you knew what was going on, but I also knew I couldn't talk to you about it anyway. So it was a very confusing moment for me.
That's like going to dinner with someone and they ordered the meal that you wanted, but you told yourself you couldn't have. So then you just be like, how does it taste? How does it taste?
That is literally... that is exactly what it's like.
Like, on one hand, you want them to tell you that it tastes bad, but on the other hand, you want them to tell you,
you're like, I knew it was delicious, that's why I wanted it.
I literally was like, Jay, I don't know what you want from me this moment, but I'm gonna go finish reading the book, all right?
I didn't know what I wanted. Oh my gosh, yes. Let's get into our hot topics.
What?
Because
I don't like this.
What did I do?
You turned the tables on me, and you seem to be running the show, which normally I'm fine.
That's very not us. You're right.
Yes.
Go ahead.
You know, I mean, thank you, co-host. You're making me nervous. Are you okay? Is it just that you're excited to talk about Only for the Week?
I'm so excited. Okay, go ahead.
And she just can't hide it. Well, hide it a little bit longer, because I gotta talk to you about something first. So it's not my fault. The internet did it. We already know the internet's a trap. It's your catchphrase, your tagline, all of that.
I think it could be. I say it often because the internet is absolutely a trap. You start one thing, rabbit hole somewhere else. Next thing you know, you don't even went on there for what you went on there for.
Listen, I was on a rabbit hole for 2 hours on this same Instagram page last night. I don't even want to get into it right now. But on Instagram, you know, they have those little channels for people to like make announcements and whatnot. And I'm in one of the author channels. What I don't know. I'm not an internet person. I'm old. But the author was talking about how she wanted to update the covers of some of her older books, not because of anything special, but because she just truly didn't enjoy the old covers and she really wanted something better of quality. And she brought up the fact that she hates doing that because it feels like a money grab. And she was like literally asking us, like she turned on replies and was like, how do y'all feel about this? Is it okay? Like, and then she was like, I don't know, maybe I'll do like some bonus content or something to at least make it worth your while if you want the new covers. And I thought, that I could respect. You know, because there's a lot of authors out here who are just like, oh, I'm updating the cover. If you want it, you have to buy it. But there's nothing different about it. And I just went, now that feels like a money grab.
So interesting. I have a lot of feelings about this, and I feel like they're actually going to contradict themselves a bit, which is weird.
Okay.
So I don't like you calling yourself old because we're like the same age. So like, not old, but I've been around the book block a couple of times for sure. And I've definitely been through a couple of like book rebrands from like some of my favorite authors and such. And I always have like mixed feelings about them. So there's one author I remember when I was younger, and this author predominantly writes YA, so I read her a lot when I was younger, and does a little bit of fiction, but not too much. And I distinctly remember like the book series that I read when I was younger had like a very distinct cover, very distinct like color scheme, like a little vibe and everything like that. And then like now, because I'm older, been around the book block a bit, the entire series has like a whole new cover and color scheme and cohesion. which I like love for like new young readers because they can experience that and it's relevant to them now. Because like we talked about this on a previous episode, that the whole like Fabio on the cover won't really fly now, but that was the standard then. So I'm just like, on some level, I appreciate trying to be relevant and connect with maybe a new generation of readers, but kind of just changing it for changing its sake doesn't really sit right with me. If you were going to do just a new cover with no bonus content, I'd rather you just do like a large batch of special editions, if that's the case. Like, I don't love it where it's just like, oh yeah, I just hated that cover, I just want to do another one. Where I'm just like, I feel like a stretch of time has to been passed. Like, if you do that for like an anniversary of the book or something, I think I'm a lot more okay with that. But changing the cover because you didn't love it as an author and you now have the time and space to change it, I feel like I can't be mad at an author for that, because sometimes you publish as you can, you know, and if you're in a space now to do it better, why not do it better? So I don't know. I have a lot of conflicting feelings about this.
I think it depends on how long the book has been out, number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, the reason for making the update, you know. Is this just a special edition, you know, with some, like, extra bonus content? Is it a rebrand? Well, because sometimes also, like, you might be switching publishers. So the publisher's like, hey, to be under this publishing deal, we gotta make our own version XYZ. I can respect that.
Okay, yeah. Those are good reasons. Relevant reasons.
Yes. We do get into some murky water here, though. Because there's a certain author, that Jay and I have both read, where I got the newer edition where the story had been updated. Okay? And so I read a complete cohesive story, whereas Jay got the older version that didn't have all the same elements in it. And so then when we went to go discuss it, I was like, what do you mean it's not a complete story, Jay? I mean, the epilogue finished it all for me. And she was like, what do you mean an epilogue? And I think...
It was so funny because it was so us, where we were having a whole fight about whether or not there was even an epilogue before we talked about what was in it.
Mind you, I don't even remember books. And I was on vacation and I was like, listen, it could be the vacation. It could be the fact that I don't remember books, but I'm pretty sure there was an epilogue to that book. And then I started describing it and you were like, that didn't happen. And I was like...
That didn't happen. Yeah.
I was like, it happened for me.
But what was interesting, though, is that it was like a second epilogue, I believe. Because like the book had one, and then this was like a bonus one or something. Am I lying in that? Was it a bonus one, or was it just like it was in a newer edition had it full on?
I'm trying to find the book.
Searching for it.
I think it's on a lower shelf that I can't.
But either way, though, it was very interesting to me because, like, in terms of like the whole bonus content situation, the book as is that I read without the extra or bonus epilogue, for me, the story was incomplete. And that was like my biggest thing. I was just like, okay, I don't feel like the story is finished. And then you were like, it definitely finished. And then when I read the epilogue, or however we're going to categorize it, I was like, oh, this is a complete story. Now I don't have that same like criticism. And I feel like the story was complete. I feel like from beginning to end, I was told a full story and I'm happy with that. So yeah, but the thing for me with that book in particular is that they didn't have like a new cover rebranding. It was just one version of the book had it and another version didn't. And I don't think it was very distinctive. No,
there were different covers.
There were different covers? I thought we fought about this earlier. You said that it has the same cover. Oh, no, you're right. It was different covers, but it was the same name. Whereas this is another thing where I'm just like, the reasoning can kind of be important because another author did a complete rebrand and a complete new cover, but also changed the titles of the book. So like when you go into like the author's website, which honestly, when I'm looking up, like, you guys know me, I like to read books in release order. So when I'm looking up like books from an author, I usually go to their actual website because I feel like that's usually the best place to find their full catalog and the order and the reading order from like the author themselves. And the author had done new covers and changed the titles of a lot of their books. And for me, it was kind of just like, and like you said, I think it's a valid reason, Chelsie, and I didn't look into this. If like it could be a publishing shift, that like that'd be a good reason. But it was one of those things where I thought it was very interesting because there was like one book in particular. I liked the book. Seeing the original title and cover, I was like, ooh, I would have never even picked it up. But then seeing the new title and cover and the rebranding, I was like, oh, I was ready to read it tomorrow. You know what I mean? So it is very interesting. I think the money grab thing, I don't necessarily think that's an author's, like, motivation. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know all these authors.
Sometimes.
But I mean, hey, if you're a writer and you're making money as an author, I love that for you and try to get that as much as possible. But I don't know. I just feel like I like when authors change it to stay relevant because I do think readers change. So it's trying to stay relevant with your reader. I appreciate that. Doing like an anniversary situation, so it's like another special whatever, I appreciate that as well. But to kind of just like, if you're changing your book cover within like 3 years for no significant reason, I'm like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, like, I've seen some influencers, which, like, they should go to therapy for this, but, like, they have stacks taller than them of the same book, but every special edition, multiple copies, and I'm just like, you are part of the problem in this.
Yeah, I don't want to judge, but I'm going to judge. I feel like those are the ones that don't read the books. Because it's the same words in all of those editions.
I mean, like, for me, it's just, like, are you okay? Like, are you actually okay that you need this book that many ways? Like, are there times where I'm like, I need the regular version and the special edition? Yes. Mm-hmm. But that's because, like, for example, the Mile High series, right? I bought the first 3 in a set as, like, a special edition. Mm-hmm. But if I want the whole series currently right now, I have to go back and buy the regular copies because I don't know if the final 2 books in the series are going to come out in special edition from the same creators of the original 3. So now I'm sitting here going, all right, that I could understand. You know what I mean?
My personal rule of thumb is I never have more than 2 copies of any book. For me, I'm like, once a third somehow gets into the rotation, it's either time to donate it, give it to a friend, whatever. The reason why sometimes I will have 2 copies of a book is usually it's a favorite book of mine, and it's because I'm willing to like lend that second copy out. And that's why. So that way I always have the copy with me, and I can lend the other one out, and it can take its time to come back, and it's not that big of a deal. I learned that lesson the hard way because I had a book that I loved and kept lending out, and people read so slow that I was like, I need another copy. And this was before I got it on digital. So actually, you know what? Technically, I think I have 3 copies of that book because I have it digitally and then 2 physical copies. So,
R.I.P. to that book. One of them was about to go.
No more than 2 physical copies then, I would say. When the book came out, reading books digitally was not on my radar. Again, aging myself, been around the book block a couple times. So now I love that I have a digital copy that I can always access if I ever need it. But for the most part, I like to read the hard copy of it. The physical copy. Yes.
Saying that you're aging yourself by saying digital copies were not available sounds a little
of that particular book.
No, I'm just saying that sounds crazy because
ebooks were a thing, but that particular book didn't have a digital
no
option.
Hear me out here. I don't think that one quite qualifies as an aging you thing because how many generations have read books without an ebook version?
Yeah, but like I'm pretty sure if I ask my siblings, they've only been alive when ebooks were available. So
they're children. They're children. They're actual
Listen,
children.
the fact that you have people with a 2 in front of their birth year and they are like functioning adults, I am surprised every time. Every single time. I'm like, what?
Listen, if one of my friends tell me they're pregnant, I treat them like they're a teen mom at this point. So I don't know age, all right? I don't know.
What are you going to do?
So what are you going to do about it? Are you sure?
What did your mom say?
No, for real though. Oh my god. But I did start thinking about how it's November, right? Mm-hmm. Which means we're headed into that territory of top 100s of books, movies, shows, all that nonsense, right? Because for some reason we have to close out the year by just counting down the best of the year when all of us spend the entire year being like, yo, that was a rough one. That was a rough one.
Where we're just trying to process life events. And you want us to list stuff? Or read list of stuff? Come on now.
Right. But it got me thinking about, like, Goodreads Top 100, New York's bestsellers, all those things, right? And I wonder, do those even matter anymore? Because I feel like, especially with Goodreads, like, y'all can't find a POC author to put on that list to save your life. All right.
They would die. If their life depended on it, they would die.
Bruv. And I just wonder, like, I hate to make this equivalent, right? I hate to, but I have to. It's like Bring It On, right? When Kirsten Dunst's team was like, nah, Gab Union's team needs to make it, because if we're going to be the best, we need to beat the best.
Beat the best, yep.
And I just felt like you're kind of doing a disservice to the non-POC authors by not actually putting them up to the competition of actually all of their peers. Mm-hmm. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, I've known for years that those lists are not for me. I have never looked at those lists and be like, ooh, I want to read that. I want to read that. I want to read that. I have looked at those lists always and been like, nope, absolutely not. That's why I never even thought about it. Why is this even here? And so I think it's, I would honestly like to know what their, like, guidelines are.
It's giving a popularity contest, but not everybody was able to vote. You know what I mean? It's like, New York best-selling author has always been a prestigious title, right? But, like, not everyone can convince a bunch of people to pre-buy the book. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, some people want to wait for the reviews to come out, and now you've just screwed over that author. Like, I'm not saying those on that list haven't earned it, because that's purely off of, like, sales. But, like, Goodreads is really giving, they went to TikTok, saw what everyone was talking about, and just put that on a list. You know what I mean?
I don't want to be disrespectful, so I'm gonna just say this.
It's a safe space.
No. For what I say, no. I'm gonna say this. I feel like I would need to know their criteria, because, like I said, for years I have never looked at that list as things that I'm, like, looking to read off of. In fact, I have looked at lists for, like, more obscure, quote unquote, less respected sites for their book reading list, because I love those way more. Those are more relevant lists to me. I think I have had a lot of friends who are more casual readers. I have a lot of friends that maybe are a little bit more, like, serious book readers, and they enjoyed the list a bit more than I do. I find it very interesting because I'm just like, one of my friends that are a little bit more casual book reader, and I just say casual in the sense of, like, they're not reading, like, a book a week that, like, we do on the podcast. Like, they maybe read like 8 to 12 books in a year type level. It's not something that they, like, do as a hobby for fun. It's more so just like, oh, everyone's talking about this book, or I've heard about, have to read this book, and then they'll read a book kind of thing.
Right.
And to me, I always find it so interesting because a lot of the books that they read are kind of, like, one of the top ones from those lists. And I've always wondered, I'm like, are you not, like, a more consumptive book reader because they're making you read books that aren't that enjoyable?
You know?
Not to be disrespectful, I haven't read those books, so I can't speak to them. All I know is I looked at the list. Specifically for the podcast, I scrolled further than I usually would have scrolled. And I did not see one book on there that I want to read. I have seen other ones that I've heard about. I've seen other ones that I might be curious to potentially check out, but it would be because of book peer pressure, not because,
right,
ooh, this looks good, ooh, the blurb is catching, ooh, this author's on my list. And to that, it's kind of just like, they don't make that list for me. And then so I'm looking at it like, okay, cool. I'm a pretty heavy reader. I mean, in terms of like consumption. And as a Black Hispanic woman, is your list just not for me? Like, and that's a weird thing to say because I feel like I don't always read things that are by or for me as a reader. Like even on the podcast, we read a vast majority of authors, topic, like whatever. And I'm just like, there's no way you have a list of 100 of the top books and me, a highly consumptive reader, can't find a book on your list. And I'm like, and this has been happening for years. It's not just this year's list. It's been happening for years. So I'm like, I can't take your list seriously. And so now I'm devalued your list. And like I said, there's been more not respected outlets. I don't want to name them because I don't agree with that, but it's the consensus socially. And so I don't want to name them to whatever. But there's been like less respected outlets that put out book lists. And I gobble that up and I add to my list of, oh, yes, I want to read that book. Oh, that wasn't on my radar. Fantastic. And they'll break down. And sometimes they'll even do more specific and curated lists of like POC authors or main characters or queer. And it's just like, oh my God, if pick what you want, they have it. So that list isn't for me. I do criticize it as a reader because I think it should absolutely be more inclusive. But it's just like, if they're so determined to not include, do I even want to see my people on that list anyway?
That's fair. But maybe we should recommend to the people some books that they should be checking out that might not be making it on that list. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
why are you dancing in your seat like your food was just delivered? What's happening?
Because I'm excited. That's such a great book rack.
All right. So what you got over there? What you recommending this week?
Okay, I'm excited about this.
I'm terrified.
Wait,
what you got?
Well, first of all, it's technically not POC Rex. It's kind of saying on brand with the book. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying these books might not necessarily make it on this list.
Yes. In fact, I checked the list and I don't think either one of them are on there, but they're great books. Okay. So, y'all, I swear this is a great recommendation. I'm not just saying it because she's a favorite author of mine, as I'm completely cheesing and turning colors.
Oh my God, you're not about to do what I think you're about to do.
I absolutely am. So, our book recs for this week is actually things with like a wedding or like a vacation type theme, to kind of stick it with our little book vibe for the week. So my first one is going to be The Wedding Party by Jasmine Guillory. Fix your face.
I didn't make a face. I 100% did not make a face.
Literally when I thought about, like weddings, like vacations, and it was literally several of Jasmine's books popped up, but this one in particular is the one I want to rec because, so The Wedding Party, you have two friends of the bride that are becoming very close to each other while they're planning for the wedding and everything for the bride, but they actually hate each other. And the bride knows that they hate each other. So as they're getting closer, they still have to pretend that they are not having their own thing on the side through all of this like wedding madness. And it is absolutely adorable. It brings so many like relevant things into play. It's super cute. It's adorable. It's such a good time. Jasmine writes such a great book though. I'm a fan. We know this. And another one is actually interesting. So the other one is Recipe for Second Chances by Allie Rosen. And so this is like a destination wedding type book. And oh my God, Allie writes some of the most beautiful landscapes and backdrops in this book. They go to, I'm pretty sure it's Italy. I forget the specific town in Italy. And oh my God, I don't want to ruin it for you guys because you guys should read it. There's so many little pockets of scenes that she describes so vividly and beautifully. I feel like I'm there. And the bride in this book is an Indian bride. So all of like a lot of the Indian traditions and all of the like beautiful colors and imagery and traditions are like represented, and it's so beautiful. So yeah, those are my two. I'm so passionate.
I'm like, I'm scared that in my sickness I won't reach your level of passionate, but I promise, guys, I truly enjoyed the books I'm about to rec to you, okay? I really did.
I was literally like bouncing in my chair. I don't even know where this energy is today, because I promise you, as soon as we're done, I'm probably gonna go take a nap.
No, like 100%. I was like, I can't wait for that nap that happens afterwards. But I would say, for my wedding/vacation vibes, I gotta go with my girl, Trelina Pucci, Not So Lucky. Number one, Trelina likes to write characters, so her female characters are never fully described out, because she always says, I want you to be able to envision the female character how you want to envision her. So if you want a skinny blonde hair, blue-eyed woman, you can. Or if you want a little thickums, all right, go ahead, put it in there. It works. Mm-hmm. For Not So Lucky, essentially, our female main character, she goes to Vegas with her sister, I believe. No, her friend. It's her and her friend. They go to Vegas. And they meet up with a star quarterback and some of his teammates. And what happens at Vegas doesn't always stay in Vegas, especially when you accidentally get drunk and married to the quarterback and then post it on social media. And did I mention she also celebrates her wedding night with his teammates?
Add to list.
Yeah, that's a wild one. It's a wild one, you know? My other recommendation for y'all is gonna be Never Fall for the Fake Boyfriend by Lauren Landish. Number one, it's fake dating, which I know Jay loves. You know? And number two, imagine booking an Airbnb and then showing up to find that someone else is already there. And now you have to fight for your right to stay. And then you beg him to be your fake boyfriend for a wedding that you have to go to for your family that you don't want to go to because everyone treats you like crap. And then he gets sick of it and stands up for you in front of the entire wedding.
Sir.
The way you just leaned in your chair. The swagger. What was that?
Oh no.
I will warn you that this is book 3 in the series, but they are standalone, interconnected. So, like, some of the other characters will show up, but they have nothing to do with the storyline. It's very much like a peekaboo. Because I originally read book 2, went back to book 1, and there was nothing ruined there. Okay. I read book 3. I had to get through the rest of the series because my favorite just got a release date, and I will be there for that one. Okay. So, you know, with this whole wedding vibe that we've got going on, I think it's time to introduce our book of the week. Whoa. I just almost called it Not So Lucky. Oh my God, Jay, help me out here.
Okay. I'm excited. Okay. The book this week is Only for the Weak by Natasha Bishop. This book has been on my radar for a good minute.
Recommended this book like 2 months ago, and Jay was like, not right now.
What did I say?
You were like, from what I heard, it's a little too emotional, and I was like, I don't think that's what we want right now.
Yes, okay, that's hilarious. Why am I like me? I don't know. Okay, yes, this book has been on my radar for like a good minute. Like, I feel like any person I know that has read this has wrecked it. I totally get it now. But it's very interesting because, like you mentioned, Chelsea, about like the ratings. I don't know who was rating this book the way that they were, because I feel like a lot of the feedback that I got from the ratings was why I was hesitant to read it. But having read it, I was like, did we read the same book?
No, like, for real, like, what you told me when you vetoed it versus what I got while reading it, I was like...
Word!
I don't know how it was that deep and emotional.
Literally, the, like, thing I kept hearing about it was like, oh, it's a good book, but it's very dark. It's going to be a lot of family drama, and the sister is, like, crazy, or something of that sort. And I was just like, ooh, I don't know if I want, like, heavy family drama for something that's going to be, like, you know, a light and fluffy kind of book. And that's why I kept skipping on it. Girl, I'm glad I didn't listen to these people, because...
Right.
Oh, that week went by fast.
Jay, before we get started, though, I do have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
How did it feel reading a book with a very fine MMC who kept saying Jay? Were you okay? If you hit the Mariah Carey high note, I already know.
Okay, hold on. Let me think. Let me, like, process my thoughts. It was distracting. It was very distracting because, like, everybody calls me Jay, and I was like, sir, I need you to stop calling my name. It was fine.
Yep, that's all the answer I needed. Let's go ahead and dive in, because I feel like I'm gonna say some nonsense that might ruin how you feel about this book.
Chelsie!
It's okay, but in all fairness, it's not my fault. Sometimes I say things and you be like, ew, and I'll be like, all right, well, I wasn't meaning it to be ill, but thanks, Jimmy Fallon.
You really do. And I'm just like, I don't look forward to them, but there are specific moments where you say specific things about a book. It's not like words about them. It's like how you, like, sum it up sometimes, and I'm just like, and you just ruined it.
Well, let me get one of these out of the way, because it might help you understand why I read the book the way I did.
Alright, go ahead.
The main male character's name is Rome, right?
Uh-huh.
But there's only one other Rome that I know of.
Okay. Is it? I wonder if it's the same Rome that I first thought about when I read it. Go ahead.
Too Fast, Too Furious, Tyrese Gibson, Roman
Pierce.
Oh,
hilarious. No, that wasn't the Rome that came to my mind, but that is hilarious. Now I can't unsee it. Damn it, Chelsie!
So I just kept reading it, thinking about dark skin Tyrese, and I was like, I don't even know this man's description, but we gonna rock with it.
I think we've established that we're actually Fast and Furious fans. It's hilarious because, like, in our friendship that never came up, but somehow through the podcast we've mentioned it a couple times.
It is what it is.
Too Fast, Too Furious is actually one of my favorites in the series. It's that and then Fast 5 when they are in Rio, but it's actually shot in Puerto Rico, so hey.
Bring it back, girl. Bring it back. Bring it back. Come
on. I actually thought of Romeo like Little Romeo, who obviously doesn't go by Little Romeo anymore, but that's actually what first came to my mind. And I was like, okay, let's change that mental picture.
Wait, pause. Is Rome's real name Romeo? And I just missed that?
No, I just assumed it was for short, because I assumed they didn't name him after an Italian city.
Well, our brains went in different directions. Let's just go ahead and jump into this, because I normally, guys, don't take notes on the books we read unless something really prompts my soul to write it down.
Okay. Now I'm nervous. I actually started taking, like, I'm gonna take notes, and I just, like, never got past a certain point. And anyway, go ahead.
Let's talk about the fact that our female main character, Jay,
can we call her Janelle, please?
Yeah, I was like, this isn't gonna work. So our female main character, Janelle,
thank you,
is headed to Tulum, Mexico for her baby sister's wedding. Or no, her big sister's wedding to her ex-boyfriend. And I literally wrote in my notes, I said, it's gross to date your sister's ex. Like, I couldn't move past that. Like, her sister was out here acting a fool the entire book, and I just went, can we just bring up the fact that you said, oh, my sister didn't want him, so I want him? How did we get here?
Girl. This is my thing with that. Janelle and Arnold, also him being named Arnold, is hilarious to me. Janelle and Arnold dated for a year. That's not like, oh, I met him at the
guaranteed
club.
Bumping and grinding.
That, but like, that's time spent. That's memories made. You definitely met him as your sister's man, potentially future brother-in-law, multiple times. And that was the part that made me go, ooh, no. Here's the
literally
thing.
Wrote, later on, I just went, there is something fundamentally wrong with Anne-Marie. And then in all capitals, I just went, fundamentally.
Sis was bugging. Okay. Here's my thing. Janelle not having a problem with it kind of made me dismiss the foolishness of it a little bit. Because for me, I'm one of those people, and I know people disagree with me all the time. I'm just like, listen, if you had a relationship and you're over that person, and the reason you guys aren't together just because you're not compatible, if someone in your circle wants to date them, I'm not putting a ban on that person, especially if I know that's a good person. Now, a lot of people disagree with me, and I understand why. But my thing is, if you know, like, you literally kind of vetted them yourself. If you know that's a good person, it just wasn't a good match for you guys, there's no future there's no lingering feelings or anything. For me, once the lingering feelings and stuff are gone, that person is a new person, kind of. Like, give it a little some time and space, but to me, in my mind, mentally, that's a new person. Now, because that's how Janelle felt about it, that's what kind of made me go, okay, I don't love it, but I'm fine with it because Janelle is fine with it. She didn't look like she had any lingering feelings. She wasn't bugging at all, but everyone around her was acting like she was, and I didn't like that at all.
Here's my problem. Because, like, legitimately, even thinking about it now, I just want to, like, find the nearest family member and just punch them.
Oh yeah, square up.
Like, there was no conversation had with Janelle about dating her ex. Ever. Ever.
Well, it wasn't in the book, but I just assumed it happened.
No. This is how I know there was no conversation that happened. Because here we are, week of the wedding. Janelle has literally helped her plan her wedding to Janelle's ex. And her mom is still talking about, I know this is going to be hard for you. And that's how I know Janelle never had a conversation with her sister, because her sister refuses to let Arnold be anywhere near Janelle. Her mom keeps thinking, like, oh, something might happen because feelings are high during a wedding. I was like, Mama, Deb, we got problems. And that just told me that no one ever, not even Arnold, went like, yo, are you cool with me dating her? Like, yo, I'm about to propose. Like, I just want to make sure, like, there's no hard feelings here. None of that was happening because everyone just assumed that Janelle was having a problem with the relationship, even though she helped plan the wedding and is the maid of honor.
That's interesting because for me, I feel like I agree with you. No conversation was had with her in terms of the ins and outs and the feelings of things. It was kind of just like, this is happening and you just deal with it. Because even in the very beginning of the book, I think it's like in the prologue, Arnold just texts her, hey, I'm gonna propose to your sister like this week. Like, if that's not a conversation, that's
wanted
just
to let you know.
Yeah, that's just like a memo. Like, you could have emailed sis that. Like, ugh. And one thing I will say this about Arnold's friend group, the guys, I actually really respected them. Listen, whatever. I actually really respected them because Christian, who I did not expect to, Micah, and Rome all checked in on Janelle. Now, of course, as we know, Rome is the only one that has like other intentions behind that, but not like nefarious, but just in the sense of like having a deeper reason to check in for that reason. But like Christian and Micah just being friends of Arnold and having known Janelle because they were an item at some point, like both of them in their own way made a point to check in with Janelle in terms of like, yo, how are you doing? Like, how is this? And I respected them so much for that, because that's just like human decency. You know, like you guys spent at least a year with homegirl, like around her, you like y'all know her. And then now that your boy is marrying her sister, she's not just some, I hate to say this, but then she's not just some jump off you'll never see again. Like that's your man's future wife's sister. She's still gonna be around. So the fact that they were like, yeah, no, there was time spent. We know you're gonna be like, I actually really respect that from the guys that they did that check in. Where do you stand? Are we fighting Danny or not?
No.
Okay.
Here's my thing. Everyone in the group was very respectful of the fact that, was Anne-Marie annoying? Yes. But that was Janelle's sister. So if Janelle wasn't putting Anne-Marie in her place, it wasn't their place to step in and do it for her.
Yeah.
So Danny knew the situation. She was very real about it, and she tried to be Switzerland for the two sisters. And I don't have beef with her. Now, if she was in Anne-Marie's ear whispering and egging the girl on about the situation, oh, absolutely, catch me outside. How about that?
Okay. Yeah. I was really on the fence about if I wanted to fight Danny or not. I wasn't sure, because I was like, because I agree. I don't feel like she was instigating. And even when times felt inappropriate, Danny always like stopped, paused, and looked at Janelle in terms of what her reaction was in terms of the act accordingly.
Exactly.
Evie, homegirl. Yes, we riding with homegirl, because when it finally came to the point when Janelle kept like taking a deep breath to be the bigger person, Evie was like, "Nah, sis, you've been bugging this whole trip. Say what you gotta say." So. And also she knew before Janelle told her, which is like bestie behavior. So I co-signed. I co-signed Evie.
Crazy opinion here. I almost think the friend group was too respectful.
Ooh, of what? Who? Why? Explain.
Jay, if you and I are out with your sister, right? And she's talking to you all types of wild. Number one, I'm gonna check you and be like, why aren't you standing up for yourself? Because if this were anybody else, you would have already put them in their place. And then two, I would have checked your sister, because you're not about to be out here ruining my night because you don't know how to act right. You could go home. And so, like, that whole conversation, or no, it was like the welcome dinner when they first got to Tulum, and every time Janelle started to enjoy herself, and then Anne-Marie had to be like, oh, what about this about the wedding? What about this? What about this? And I just had to be like, first off, it's already in my nature to be like, damn, girl, can we just enjoy Mexico for 2 seconds? Like, we already here. If you didn't remember it, we can either get it here or it wasn't meant to be. Number one. And I've done a destination wedding as a maid of honor, so I can say this with my chest. But it also is like, could you just let her enjoy the week that she was supposed to have off? Because you said this was a week to relax before the wedding. So why are you planning my whole week?
Too thick for a relaxing week.
I would have been like, yo, you can find me when my Kindle battery dies. How about that? That's when I'll look at my phone.
I hear you. I do understand your point. I don't all the way agree, because I feel like what Danny was doing for the women, I feel like the guys were doing with Arnold. So I feel like what you're saying, like they were a little bit too respectful, like multiple times, because we can hear, I've listened to it as an audiobook, because we can hear Rome's thoughts. He definitely was like, yo, I would have wanted to check Anne-Marie a couple of times, but out of respect for Arnold, because that's his job to do that. Like, they were looking at Arnold, and Arnold don't want to catch no, like, fights right before his wedding, isn't saying or doing anything, because he's, like, in his own awkward situation, whatever. And so, I understand, I do I can see why you say you think that the group is a little bit too respectful, but I don't know.
But hear me out. Hear me out. If Anne-Marie was acting a fool purely because of the wedding, I could have let it go. But they kept bringing up an engagement party that was crazy, where she acted a fool. But also, all these people have been around Anne-Marie for at least 2 years at this point.
Yeah.
So this is not a one-off situation where it's like, oh, she's just being a bridezilla. Once the wedding's over, we could just put it all behind us. Like, no, you guys are a friend group. She's gonna act this way, period.
Yeah, that's who she is.
I would have been like, bro, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's your wife and I'm gonna respect her, but I don't want to be around her because every time she comes around, I just want to shove her head through a wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is what it is. As respectfully as possible, and I hate how sexist this sounds, sir, get your girl, because she's a problem.
But it's also like, Janelle, get your sister. Stop letting her walk all over you.
That part too, and I get it, because like family things can sometimes be a little bit more tenuous than like maybe friendship things.
Yeah.
But, I wanted to fight the sister. Oh my God, I wanted to fight the sister. And the mom too!
We gonna get it. We gonna get into Mama Deb.
Okay, all right.
But I need a break because I want to talk about Rome. I need, first off, sir. Listen, he had me putting heart eye emojis in my notes when they finally hook up that first time, and then he put her hair up in the bonnet afterwards while she was asleep. I wrote in all. Listen,
oh my God.
In all capitals, I just wrote the aftercare ! Cause
why did we have this?
She woke up and she was like, I don't even remember doing this, and he was like, don't worry about it.
Hair done, phone charge, oh my gosh.
And then, listen, he did the one thing that could make my knees go weak.
What's
when
that?
He rented a whole yacht just so that she could read in peace. He said, you want to go see the water? I got you, boo-boo. I got you. You want to read? Let's go. Packed her bag for her. And then sat next to her and read the books that she brought. And then wanted to have a whole book club discussion about it. Sir, if you were real, I would actually throw hands with Janelle. Because you coming home. You coming home.
So check this out. I found it hilarious. Voice, can you calm down so I can speak, please? I found it hilarious that we read this book after, in real life, our actual friendship, you accused me of having a book husband. And I was like, I don't even know if I can fight that because, yeah. I feel like it was a setup. I was like, okay. I think I might have a new boyfriend, y'all.
This is a momentous occasion.
Yo! Okay. When I was reading, and literally the yacht part, it was funny because it was mentioned ahead of time. Like, it wasn't new news. But when he rented out the yacht just for her to read, and like, left her alone to read, I was like, and he's rich too? That's literally like my reaction. But here's the thing, and you know this, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's the fact that he had this to his disposal, planned it, put together completely with her in mind. She said, I want to read by the water. Man said, bet, middle of the water.
Wait.
Sorry, what?
And then on top of that, he forced everyone to go on that outing on the boat to see turtles.
Okay. No, check this out. I had to double check because this is absolutely a book I'm going to have to reread because I need to reread it. I had to double check. Janelle thought that her sister is who set up the sea turtle excursion.
Yes.
And she was mentally like, oh my God, you know, if my sister's doing this as like an olive branch, like I can I can accept it. Like, she's trying to like do something for me. I appreciate that. It wasn't until after they were done that she finds out through Micah. Listen, homeboy is a homeboy, and good wingman. First of all, Micah's a whole other conversation. We'll get to that when we get to it. But like, that's when she found out it actually wasn't because of her sister. It was because of Rome. Sir.
Rome said, I don't care if we here for a wedding or not. My girl wants to see turtles. We gonna go see turtles.
We snorkeling. We snorkeling. Bro. Oh my gosh. Like, bro, listen, they did. Oh, I like sea turtles. Oh, I want to read about the water. Huh? What we talking about next?
I ain't got no complaints about Rome whatsoever, except for at one point he didn't just be like, yo, I don't care what you thought, but just because I said for a week, it didn't mean a week. But yeah, he did the right thing. He did the right thing. He had to let her come to it on her own.
He respected her boundaries. I can hear the eye roll in your voice. Here's the thing. I love that he respected her boundaries. And I'm going to say something real me. I love that he respected her boundaries. But in that moment when he was like, yeah, you said a week, I did it, and he left, I wanted to be like, I ain't going nowhere.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I really wanted him to just, like... I respect
that he respected her boundaries. I respect that he respected her boundaries.
I know.
And listen, she smarted up real quick. But I almost want to be like, sir, she don't know what she wants. Tell that woman what to do.
Listen, the way I wanted him to be like, girl, if you don't stop playing and just get over here. Like, I'm not playing this game with you. Like, we would have been sitting in that bed staring each other down in silence for the rest of the day because I wasn't breaking eye contact. I'm gonna let you figure this one out. Stop playing with me.
Sir.
I did have some other questions for you, not about Rome. Just because if you ruin him,
I will fight you.
I ain't got no notes about Rome. None.
Okay. All right. But I was like, yo, Chelsie, square up. I don't care where you at. Square up.
No, like literally, chapter 8, where Rome tells Anne-Marie off, where I forget what she was doing, but he was like, no. You're actually the problem. I think it had to do when they were looking for her wedding ring that she conveniently lost. And I was like, do you want to fight? Because I know you're playing games. Right.
Everybody, I know she did that on purpose. Everybody come find it now. Oh my God. I don't know. Maybe it was just because I read this as an audiobook. The voice that they did to Anne-Marie made her sound way more annoying than she was written. Maybe, listen, I don't know. But
Homegirl would have had a black eye on her wedding day. Homegirl would have been up there black and blue the way she was acting.
I can't stand her. Oh my God.
And for her to be the big sister on top of that, I was like, bro.
I can't stand her. I literally can't stand her.
But I did have like an author question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So Chapter 4, they're going to the club. That's the one where, like, the lights come on and then they come off, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about the author throwing in very specific songs throughout this whole book? Because especially in the club scene, I was like, I don't know any of the songs you listed. And I'm pretty sure I sang one of them wrong.
Literally, you asked me that question. I was like, there was music? Okay, I did recognize some of the parts, and this is actually why I want to read the book again with my eyes. When they were doing like the rehearsal dinner thing, and everyone was like picking a song to go down the aisle with, like, for fun. Yeah. I thought that was super cute, but like the way the readers, the voice actors did it, I was like, I don't like the way y'all doing that.
Yeah.
Like,
that in the text messages,
why don't make ponies sound like that? Yeah. Right. But I feel like text messages are always a little hard when you hear them.
Yeah.
Especially because it's like 11:52, 11:43, and I was like, just next message. Yeah. So I could not even tell you what song that was in the club scene. I didn't even register.
One of them was called Nasty, and this is what made me write the note, because it was called Nasty, but I just thought about, like, the Instagram and TikTok song, like, I've been a nasty girl. And I was like, how you gonna dancing to that? But you can't dance to that. So I was like,
that's what I thought, but I also was just like, I'm not sure if that song was out when the book came out, and I was like, I don't need to do the research. It's fine. That's not the main reason of the scene, so... That's the whole lights off, lights on thing, I don't go clubbing that much. And I was like, oh, is that like a real...
It depends. I mean, in Mexico, I've done some wild partying, so we going to talk about that one off camera. But it depends.
In Tulum?
I ain't been to Tulum, but I've been to Mexico.
Yeah, I just... Yeah, the music was, like... For me, I thought, like, that scene with the whole, like, them doing the song, I thought it was cute to kind of show, like, them as a collective friend group. I thought it would have been adorable if Rome and Janelle picked the same song by accident, but that didn't happen. But I think it was also cute to kind of find out that, like, Micah can legit sing, because, like, no one knew about that, so,
Micah can sing?
Yes.
I think I missed that detail. I really need to reread this book with my eyes.
It wasn't registerable. So, okay, so let's talk about Micah for a second. Micah is
shout outs to the Secret Keeper.
Huh?
So shout outs to the Secret Keeper.
Exactly. So no, Micah is interesting to me because I feel like the way the book starts, I was like keying in on Micah. And then it was like the next chapter and it was like Rome. I was like, Rome? Micah's not the
I always picked Rome.
I thought it was Micah. And then when they were like, Rome, I was like, oh.
When she said that man had strategically avoided her entire relationship, I said, oh, what's up, bruh? What's up?
Well, listen, very honorable. Loved that. But no, like the way that they described Micah and like the time they took at the top of the book to put the effort into describing him, I was like, it's a series. We gonna have to wait for the Micah book to drop. So... yeah, no, I'm very pro Micah. But yeah, no, it was funny. Like to me, I felt like it was a little bit of a fake out at the top of the book, and I thought it was very cute. So I think anytime that Micah is referenced is like dope because I think we established the character that he has as a person, which I appreciate. Yeah, no, I ain't got no problem. Even like Christian is but he's true to himself, and I feel like. As long as people are upfront about that, I'm fine with that. I have more issues if you do that and the girl you're with don't know, so.
Let's talk about the parents of the problem child for a moment, shall we? Because while Mama Deb and I got problems, Pops and I got problems too.
Really? Okay.
So, at this point, at their ripe age, of being in their 30s. It's very clear the dynamics of this family. So why at no point has the father put the mother in her place? Is beyond me. Because even without the wedding nonsense going on, it's very clear of the family dynamics. Like, and then you're making faces and I'm going to ignore your faces. We get to the lunch where Janelle finally decides to tell her mother off. And Pops just sits there. There's like one moment where he's like shocked and chagrined at his wife's behavior. And I was like, cool, you know this already. You know what demon time your wife be on. So why are we playing games? And then on top of that, you still out here holding her hand on top of the table while still soothing your daughter underneath the table. I was like, bro, you need to tell your wife to treat your child correctly. That's literally your job.
I agree.
Don't tell me you disagree. I was like, if you say disagree, we go actually fight on this podcast.
I agree with you, homie. Calm down. I agree, but I thought it was interesting because the book kind of did say it specifically, and that's the reason why I don't necessarily have problems with the dad. It said that the dad knows that the mom kind of has shenanigans and foolishness. And for the most part, like, he corrects things privately. And so that's the only reason why I wasn't, like, looking at him side-eye about some things. I do not like his stance of that. I wish he would correct, especially his wife. in front of the children because they're grown adults, because she was out of pocket. I wish he would. But at the same time, understanding that him and his wife has a whole relationship that's separate from them as parents to their adult kids, I am not mad at him for wanting to have those conversations with his wife or with his kids in private and not in public. So I do agree. I think he should step up more, but I'm not mad at him for the way that he feels that he course corrects like those behaviors.
He's not course correcting hard enough. Damn it. He's not course correcting hard enough.
But at the same time, so I know very, like, I guess is the best way to say it, is like more passive men. Like, for me, it's not the fact that, like, oh, they don't want to say anything, whatever. It's just that that's just not how they deal with conflict. Like, him letting things play out and then telling you softly, hey, you were wrong here. Let's try to, like, do this better next time. I know people that do that, and that's how they like deal with situations. I'm not going to say that's a correct way or a wrong way or whatever. It's just a more gentle, passive, and like after the fact way versus someone like a Rome who was just like, okay, I tried to respect you doing this on your own. It's not working. I will step in and say something. But even when Rome did it, he did it in a respectable manner that was still digestible in public. You know what I mean? So I definitely think the mom was bugging from chapter 1. And I did not like the way she treated Janelle. I did not like the way she coddled A-Marie. But the father, to me, it didn't feel like Janelle had any beef with her father. It didn't feel like that she had any disconnection with her father. So to me, that tells me that on some level, character to character, he's a good dad. And I did like that when they were at the airport, he did do a gentle correction of the sister trying to exclude Janelle and being like, yo, no, we can all go out to lunch, and even included the guys as well. So for me, that lets me know that he sees it and he's trying to fix it, but he's also trying not to embarrass his wife or disturb, the vibes.
He's not trying to fix it, though. What he's doing is not correcting the behavior. He's just skirting around the behavior and getting his way because he knows he's the father. And that's my problem, is because I don't remember her exact age, but she does say that she's in her 30s. And for her to be in her 30s and this behavior is happening, that tells me it's been happening their entire lives. And at no point has Pops been like, shut it down. Because we all know in this type of family, while Mom is the one who has to say so, if Pop steps in and has to say something, we done. And that's the part where I just went, Pops, what is wrong with you? Like, something is seriously wrong with you if you're not actually stepping in and being like, yo, I can see my daughter is actually hurting because of the way my wife and my other daughter are treating her. Because they have such a tight relationship that I was just like, Pops, like, bro, this is actually your job. So now I have problems with you. Like, moms, we got problems already. But then with that, I was like, and then the sister and I really fell into a beef in that final act. I'm not even gonna lie to you. When she brings, I think his name is Cortez.
I feel like I want to ask a Chelsie question at the end of this, but go ahead.
What you gotta ask me?
But no, go ahead. Like, I literally like wrote it down, but it's like, it's a very Chelsie question, but I want to ask it.
Oh, no.
But go ahead.
When Anne-Marie brings out this snaky cousin to be Janelle's date to the wedding.
Cortez pops up in general. It's Troy that she like brings up to be the date.
Oh, I said I think his name is Cortez. I couldn't remember. Oh, but
there is a Cortez. That's the gross cousin.
Yeah.
The thing that I didn't like about Troy is that that's Arnold's protege. Like, why are you giving your sister Arnold's like lackey? Like, what?
But
I thought that was disrespectful.
She is disrespectful. Like, literally, when they find out that Janelle and Rome are together, her sister goes, you just had to one-up me by proving that you could be with my fiance and his best friend. And I literally was like, why are we competing?
It's not about you, boo. Have you seen this man?
Jay, that felt a little biased of a comment. Considering you said, have you seen this man? And honestly, none of us have. None of us have.
But A-Marie had, so she should get it more.
Anyway, I just felt like this sister was not only doing too much in general, but then to do that, I literally was like, do you want to drown in the pool, or do you want to drown in the ocean? Let me know. Let me know if you want the Gulf of Mexico. I could be here all day about that sister, but watching Rome knock someone, well, in my head, watching Rome knock someone out at a club over Janelle, I was like, okay, sir, okay.
You know, I don't really co-sign vibes. I know I say square up a lot, but this is only in fictional situations and hypotheticals. But
yo, if we in the club, we not all fam. All right, in the club, we are not all fam. Because homie had to go.
Cousin was not fam. Like, he was trash. Take him out, please.
Oh. But we did survive to the wedding.
Before we get to the wedding, can we talk about the reveal, the robe reveal to the friend group?
Okay, so I had questions about this, and I wasn't sure if it was just the sick brain. But it almost felt like they forgot that the people were still in walking vicinity of them. And I was like, how y'all doing this out in the open? I mean, I'm not mad at it, but like, hello?
Okay, no, thank you. Okay, so this is one of those things where I'm just like, listening to it as an audiobook as a first read, I'm like, I need to read it with my eyes, because I feel like there's a couple of nuance that I'm just like, it was hard for me to grasp, even though I went back and I was just like, you guys were like, oh, we're so tired, we're not gonna make it to our room, these couches are so comfortable, and I was just like, what?
But I also feel like they had been drinking, so it was also kind of like a dumb drunk moment.
I kind of like, okay, that's how I kind of like excused it in my mind for not making logical sense. And I was just like, okay, things are just a little bit hazy. And she's probably just like, I want to be in your arms and this is comfortable right here. Let's just like sleep it off. And like, then we can like relocate. But then like, girl coming back.
Let's be real. Rome took one handful of that booty and he said, I'm not making it back to the room. He said, I can't. That's too far. All right. I need double cheeked up on a Tuesday right now.
I can't with you right now. Can we just like his strength for like a little moment? Top of the book, carried her from the beach to the room multiple times, picked her up over here on the couch. Like, bro, find some time to be working out.
Yeah, because she in the gym with him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot.
But the reveal. I could not...
I can't stand A-Marie. Cannot stand her reaction the way I wanted to deck her.
Okay, hear me out on this. Because I'm going to have to step into her brand of Delulu for a moment.
Okay.
If I were Anne-Marie in this situation, I would actually be happy that she's so focused on Rome and could leave my man alone.
Thank you! That's why I was like, why is she mad? You were, like, not saying it, but kind of scared and worried about your sister with your man because they were together at some point. You never want them to reconnect or have any kind of memories or reminiscing. She got a whole man keeping her company. You threw two crappy options at her that she didn't want. You were mad that she didn't want them. She got a whole viable option. And you're mad?
It didn't make sense. And then this is at the point where I said the friend group is too respectful, because when Anne-Marie starts throwing jabs left and right, I would have been like, who are you talking to? Who the fuck you talking to? Let me remind you that this girl over here you talking crazy to out the side of your neck is the same person who helped you plan this entire wedding and is your maid of honor.
Who
and your sister.
You and encouraged you to say yes to the proposal.
Like, as a friend, I would have had to step in and been like, so what drug are you on right now? Because this is not adding up. Like, this brand of Delulu that you're on has me thoroughly confused at this moment.
Okay. So this is my Chelsie question to you, because I think it's hilarious. We've talked about it multiple times, how when we read books for the podcast, it's a slightly different than when we just, like, read to read. While reading the book, I had the question, did Anne-Marie get off too easy?
No. And I say that because of the epilogue.
Okay.
Because here's my thing. When Janelle shows up for the wedding, I was definitely confused. But I understood her reasoning. Because my brother and I love that man, all right? But we have had some fights. We have had some arguments where we just didn't speak for periods of time.
Okay.
But in those important moments, like the birth of his child, things like that, we could be at each other's throats, but I'm not going to miss this important moment in his life because that's still my sibling. And in the epilogue, she talks about how they're not best friends. They're still working on building a proper foundation for a sibling relationship. And that was literally her goal. And the fact that they've gone to therapy together and Anne-Marie is going to therapy by herself shows that she's putting in the work to become better and that they've actually started breaking down some of their issues. Had she shown up to the wedding, Janelle, and like partied hard, and then like we got to the epilogue and she's like, oh, that's my bestie XYZ, I would have been like, fake. Fake. But in this case, she did not get off that easy. She got to put in the work.
Okay, I agree. It was very interesting to me because, like, while reading it, I totally had that question. I was like, is she getting off too easy? Because I know it's something you ask sometimes, and I have the exact same sentiments. Janelle going to the wedding, I initially thought yes. But then when you get into the epilogue and you hear the details of their current relationship as sisters and Janelle's with her mother, I was like, no, I feel like this is a very real life solution that's very relevant to the things that they're experiencing, because it goes so much further than just the wedding in Tulum, and that's just it. It can't be you get out of Mexico and everything is like hunky dory. It's like, no, this has been a running thing that just blew up in this one time. It's going to take time to address it and bring back to real life situations. So yeah, I actually agree with you wholeheartedly.
That's because I'm right. I'm never wrong. It is what it is. Listen, I learned a long time ago that when I'm right, I'm right. And when I'm wrong, I'm right. It is what it is. And that is a quote from a movie. Don't play with me.
Can we talk about the little video game?
Yes.
What? What's going on?
I don't know if it's just because I'm sick, but it didn't emotionally move me. I thought it was cute, but it didn't, like... Listen, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just not saying it was good. But I've also committed myself to rereading this book at a later date. Because, I'm going to be honest, y'all, the audiobook readers were just not my cup of tea. If it had been a duet, maybe. Had they done a full-on duet, I could have rocked with it a little bit more. But listening to the female voice try and do male voices and the male voice try and do female voices, I was like, am I supposed to take this serious right now?
Yeah, I definitely want to read it with my eyes because, yeah, some nuance. Okay, maybe because I'm a video game girl. But...
Exactly. And the lady's name is Jay, so...
That wasn't even in my consideration.
Liar.
Oh, this hypothetical fictional man. I think you're saying this around myself. Like, what thought process for a proposal? Yeah, I would absolutely fold like a crappy, cheap lawn chair throughout this entire book.
don't even know what to say to that, Jay. I mean, other than to ask you what you rating it, but I think I already know the answer to that.
Just go rating it. No, I want you to rate it first. Even though I am ready, I want you to rate it first because I feel like if I say mine and then you say yours, it's gonna make me real bad, and I don't think I'm gonna get past it. But if you say yours, I can digest it and then go forward.
Okay, so I gave it a 4, 100%.
Okay.
4. If I'm going off the audiobook itself, that experience was a 3, but I know that if I had read it with my eyes, it would have been a 4. Purely because I would have made up the voices of what everyone sounds like, and there were certain nuances I would have picked up on better.
Yes.
But I don't have complaints about this. I just don't think I'd be shouting from the rooftops to have everyone else read it. Like, if someone asked me for, like, a cute love story, I would give it, but it's not something that I'll be ranting and raving about.
I think it is a specific rec. Like, I don't know if this is just like a overall, like, oh my god, like a favorite read rec. I think it's a very specific rec. But I rated it a 5. I don't think anyone would be shocked by that. But here's the thing. I was actually thinking about it and I was just like, is it a 5 though? And I was like, I can't think of a reason why it's not. And I was like, but what if it's a 4? And I was like, I can't think of a reason why it's not a 5. I do plan to reread it again. But it's a 5. I was a fan. The only thing, if I could like pick and choose, the only thing I would want more out of the book was to get a better taste of Mexico. But I don't feel like that was what the point of it was. So not like, getting the location significance, I think is okay. Especially because you had specific moments where it was relevant to where they were, like the sea turtle moment, the yacht, kind of sort of the yacht moment. But yeah, no, I think it's a 5. I'm absolutely planning to reread it again. I had thoughts and feelings throughout, and yeah, I thought it was written well. This is my first book by Natasha Bishop. I love that this is a series because there's a couple people in the little friend group that I do want to know what's going on with. So I think I'll latch on and read the rest of the series.
Question for you that just popped into my brain. Worst villain, Acacia or Anne-Marie?
Ooh.
I almost want to say Anne-Marie because that's her actual blood sister that she did dirty like this.
I'm like conflicted because I'm just like, Acacia knew and was an instigator throughout, but Anne-Marie kind of been doing this foolishness like literally Janelle's
30
whole life.
years. 30 years.
Okay, Okay, I think I'm gonna say Anne-Marie because
that's who I'm picking. I'm picking
because Acacia,
Anne-Marie.
Even though I got beef with Acacia is still on the younger side. Like, she hasn't like been in real life yet. Like, they're still in college essentially. Yeah. But Anne-Marie is a grown woman and the older sister in this situation. Yeah.
It's also like Acacia was out here trying to help, in
her own way,
bridge the beef, right? Whereas Anne-Marie was like, nah, here's my
I'm jacking up my mama and daddy relationship, my relationship, the friends relationship. She took a torch to the whole town.
She getting kicked out of the whole group chat the way she acted.
Yeah.
So then,
and like multiple people wanted to check her. Multiple people were like, Arnold, get your girl, but I can't say that, but get your girl.
And then in that case, I guess the only thing I can say left is don't be an Anne-Marie, all right? Maybe be a Rome. If you a man watching this, be a Rome. Be a Rome.
We can go before I just completely start blushing.
Thanks for watching another episode, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all of it. All the books we've mentioned today are linked down below. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye.